Hey there, and welcome to episode 15 of Jazzy-Bytes, the video game channel where we talk about all things video game related, with me, Jazz. I hope you're keeping well. So for this episode, I want to talk about Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider games. These were originally released on the PlayStation from 1998 onwards, and they helped elevate Lara Croft to the levels of video game icon that weren't even enjoyed by Mario and Sonic at this point. They didn't hurt the PlayStation 1 sales either. From there was a slew of releases and re-releases on the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3. Low points of the series would have been Tomb Raider and the Angel of Darkness, a game that was so buggy and so unfinished that the game is almost impossible to complete in the state that it was released in. And high points of the series would have been Tomb Raider Legend, in my opinion. Really smooth gameplay and a bit of a return to form for the series. For the bulk of this episode, I want to concentrate on the next generation Tomb Raider games. These games are solid, and hopefully by the end of this video, you'll agree too. Enjoy. Released in 2013, Tomb Raider is a action-adventure video game that was made by Crystal Dynamics and published by Square Enix. This is another reboot of the series and gives a new backstory for Lara Croft. She is young and inexperienced in this version, not the battle-hardened, attitude-giving Lara that fans had come to know at this point. One of the writers of the game is Rhianna Pratchett, daughter of the late Terry Pratchett. He's a genius and author of the Discworld series, amongst others. Camilla Luddington takes over as the voice of Lara Croft from Keeley Hawes, who you may remember from the Ashes to Ashes TV series. Exploration and survival are the core elements of this game. The game takes place on Yamatai Island and encourages the player to explore every corner of it. The game also includes multiplayer, a first for the series. That's as much as I want to say about the multiplayer, other than just because you can, it really doesn't mean that you should. The game is mentioned as set on Yamatai, a Japanese island. Yamatai was once upon a time governed by Himiko, the Sun Queen, who was blessed allegedly with the powers that let her control the weather. The Solari Brotherhood are already on the island. They're a group of quite nasty cultists whose motivations are explored throughout the game. Of course, and as you'd expect, you take control of Lara Croft, our young archaeology graduate, but this time she's part of a team rather than a singular explorer. As you can see from this introduction, Lara and her team quickly find themselves in trouble and in a fight for their survival, along with a race against time to find out the secrets of the island before the Brotherhood do. The sequel to Tomb Raider, Rise, was released in 2016, making it the 11th Tomb Raider game in the mainline series. This game attempts to be semi-open world. You unlock hubs as you go through, leaving you free to tackle areas and their challenges, get collectibles, do some crafting and obtain item caches, alongside furthering the main storyline. It seems obvious at this point, but Rise of the Tomb Raider is an action-adventure game, it's played from a third-person perspective, and again it follows the adventures of Lara Croft as she follows clues to track down the whereabouts of the legendary city of Katesh. This is probably my favourite out of the new series. It's a little bit darker and a little bit grittier than the previous entries in the franchise. And the fact that Lara is now a little bit less naive, but she's vulnerable, suffering with her mental health after the first game, really helps drive the story forward. Camilla Luddington returns as the voice of Lara, with Rhianna Pratchett returning as writer. There is some interesting DLC attached to this one. There's Baba Yaga, the Temple of the Witch, a genuinely unsettling adventure that verges on survival horror. There's Cold Darkness Awakened, along with Blood Ties and Lara's Nightmare. I also feel that the combat was vastly improved in this game. It feels more solid, it feels more precise, and it's overhauled from the previous game. The set pieces in this game, as like the previous one, have more of a movie-like feel to them. The storyline itself takes place 1 year after the events of Tomb Raider. Lara is seeking answers after her experiences on Yamate Island. Trawling through her father's work, she discovers his notes and obsession with Katash, and then she organises an expedition to the Forgotten Cities in North Korea, aiming for the tomb of the prophet Constantinople, as he was a key figure in the legend of Katash. This is all whilst battling the shady Trinity organisation. The third and final game in the new trilogy brings things to a close in a semi-spectacular fashion. It's got the inclusion of Lara Croft setting into motion a cataclysmic event that threatens our very existence, but I'm getting ahead of myself, sorry. Shadow of the Tomb Raider is a third-person action-adventure developed by Eidos Montreal and published by Square Enix. Released in 2018, this game is set against the backdrop of Mayan and Aztec mythology. It's actually set very shortly after the events of Rise of the Tomb Raider. This game takes our plucky heroine to the Americas, to the tropical areas of Paititi. She is again battling the paramilitary group Trinity that seems inextricably linked to her at this point. This is probably the most gorgeous looking of all the games, and as with previous games, she has optional challenge tombs, side quests, and obtaining items for crafting, which does seem to be a bit of a staple element of adventure games at the moment. Camilla Luddington returns as the voice of Lara. Without Rhianna Pratchett as writer this time, she was replaced by Jason Dozois and Jill Murray. It obviously follows a similar gameplay formula to the previous ones, with tweaks in all areas, from combat to swimming to the stealth. There really is nothing more satisfying than breaking an enemy's line of sight in this game, hiding in some mud, and then sneaking back upon them. This is a really good rounding off to the next generation Tomb Raider trilogy, a good swan song to this series. I just want to quickly mention Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. This was released in 2014, just after Tomb Raider. This game is an arcadey, isometric fun Tomb Raider game. It feels a little bit more traditional with the settings and the themes and Lara's outfit. Incidentally, it marks the last time that Keely Hawes voiced Lara. The plot is a little bit more out there. Lara Croft teams up with rival explorer Carter Bell and two Egyptian gods, Horus and Isis, and this is all in order to defeat the evil god Set. Oh hey, I hope you enjoyed that journey into the next generation Tomb Raider trilogy. Who knows what the future holds for Lara Croft? They're still making new movies. There's going to be further video games. All I know is that Lara Croft is one of the all-time greatest video game icons. Guys, thanks for watching. You take care of each other, and peace out.